Before science, before psychology, people still needed answers. They needed to understand why the world behaved the way it did, why storms came without warning, why people changed, sometimes without reason, why emotions could feel so powerful and so uncontrollable, why life could shift from calm to chaos in a single moment. So they created something that could explain it all. Not systems, not equations, not data, but stories. Stories that could be remembered. Stories that could be shared. Stories that could make sense of things that didn't make sense. These were the stories of the Greek gods. Powerful beings living above the world, watching it, controlling it, shaping it, and sometimes changing it completely. There was Zeus, the king of the gods, the one who ruled the sky and decided when lightning would strike, when the sky would darken, when storms would arrive without warning. There was Poseidon, who controlled the seas, calm one moment, violent the next, unpredictable, powerful, impossible to control. And Hades, not evil, but inevitable, the ruler of the underworld, the place everyone would eventually go, no matter who they were, no matter what they had done. But here's what's interesting. These gods weren't perfect. They weren't distant. They weren't beyond human behavior. They were human. They felt anger, jealousy, desire, pride. They made impulsive decisions. They acted without thinking. They fought. They made mistakes, just like the people who believed in them. And that wasn't accidental, because Greek mythology was never just about gods. It was about people. When someone felt overwhelming rage, it wasn't just emotion. It was Ares. When love became irrational, unpredictable, impossible to explain, it wasn't random. It was Aphrodite. When wisdom appeared, in the middle of confusion, it wasn't coincidence, it was Athena. Everything had a cause, everything had a form, everything could be explained. Not through logic, not through science, but through story. And those stories did something powerful. They made the unpredictable feel understandable. They made chaos feel structured. They made human behavior feel less confusing, because it's easier to accept something when it has a face, even if that face is a god. For the Greeks, the world wasn't random, it was personal. Storms weren't just weather, they were decisions made by something with intention. Love wasn't just emotion, it was influence, something acting on you from outside. Conflict wasn't just circumstance, it was driven by forces you couldn't always see. And in that world, nothing happened without a reason. Nothing was truly random. Everything meant something. But over time, something changed. The need for these stories began to shift. People started asking different questions, looking for different answers, searching for patterns instead of personalities. And slowly, the gods stopped explaining the world. But that doesn't mean they disappeared, because even today, we still describe ourselves in very similar ways. And maybe that's not so different from what the Greeks believed, because they didn't just create gods to understand the world. They created them to understand themselves, to give meaning to what they felt, to explain what they couldn't control. And the real question is, if we lived in that world, would we have believed any differently, or would we have done exactly the same thing? If this made you think, there's more to explore, please subscribe.